Hello, everyone, and welcome to Simply Technical. Back again here, and we're going to continue. I say continue. We're going to talk about aliens, I think. A little bit of aliens.
A little bit of aliens talk or the recent plane crash.
Yeah, and there's a plane crash that happened recently outside of DC. Kind of like a weird event, I guess. So a pilot and the plane's owner sent his wife, nanny, and 2-year-old daughter to upstate New York or to Long Island and set it on autopilot, and they got up to like 34,000 feet, I think, which is what a typical like jet will fly at when you're commercial. And they were started flying into unrestricted or to restricted airspace, like around Washington, D.C. And so they got intercepted by F-16s. The Air National Guard launched, and they were looking inside the cockpit, and they just see the pilot slumped over. And I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't get shot down. Because, you fly anything near DC, you're trying to hit a Pentagon or something, they're going to shoot you down probably.
Yeah.
But I guess they observed that inside the cockpit that the pilot was slumped over, and the FAA is kind of determining or suggesting, I guess, that they lost cabin pressure and maybe some sensors didn't go off, or the pilot didn't get his oxygen mask on quick enough. Because if you lose air pressure, I think they said you have like 30 seconds or something like that to get your air mask on before you will go unconscious at that height. Because I think above 10,000 feet, like, so a normal pilot, the way that I understand it, a normal pilot, like private pilot, with most, for those that don't know, most planes are unpressurized, like small aircraft are unpressurized. So when you fly above 10,000 feet, you can only stay up there for 30 minutes between 10,000 to 12,000 feet. If you go if you're going to stay up there longer than that or above 12,000 feet, you need to have oxygen on board. So like supplemental oxygen. So, at 34,000 feet, there's not much oxygen up there. So if your cabin does depressurize, so this one obviously had a pressurized cabin, you're going to pass out. And I guess he never woke up. The F-16s that were deployed, sonic boomed near him. And so that was kind of the reports a couple of days ago. It was like, what's going on in DC? There's sonic booms going off like crazy. And they deployed flares.
Bombs are going off or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
yeah. I've never heard of sonic boom, so I don't even know.
I mean, they're loud. Well, air show July 1st at Tinker, or July 1st weekend at Tinker. Blue Angels will be there. And so they set off their flares. They sonic boom near them, try to wake the pilot up, and nothing happened. And they eventually crashed. No survivors, unfortunately. But kind of a weird thing. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, how do you not notice? I mean, I guess I don't really understand this high altitude thing. Like, how do you not notice you're not getting
breathing?
Oxygen?
Yeah. Well, maybe like it didn't deploy. I don't know how that plane was modified or how that plane supplied supplemental oxygen, because if your cabin's pressurized, you have to have oxygen on board in case of something like this. Now, it might not be as convenient as dropping from the cupboard above you like it does on a commercial plane, but I mean, it has to be somewhat readily available that you should be able to get it within 34 seconds or 30 seconds. So but they left autopilot on it, and so it kind of did like a weird path. It like went from Tennessee up to its destination in Long Island, and then circled back and eventually crashed in Virginia after flying over DC. So like kind of a weird path, but the autopilot took it around, I'm guessing. This, if it's a jet plane and it's pressurized, it's going to be very expensive. Like I said, I don't really know all that much about the aircraft as far as like its pressure. Like I said, maybe sensors didn't go off.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a freaky accident.
Yeah. So weird things happening in DC this week with that, and then you heard the alien story. I mean,
I heard a little bit about it, but why don't you kind of give some background on it?
yeah. So I mean, it's happened like the last 2 years or so. There's been several strange stories about UFOs. Some people talking about aliens, and the government released some classified files about that had indications about UFOs. But I think that was literally there's a big difference between alien flying saucer and UFO, unidentified flying object. But anyways, several stories about that. But then this week, I think is probably the biggest story, maybe that's gotten almost zero news coverage. Was this Air Force veteran? I don't remember his name. David Grush
Gross shit.
said that we've essentially had alien spacecraft for decades, and the U.S. has recovered uh, unknown species bodies, and it sort of blew up on UFO Twitter and I guess conspiracy Twitter at the same time. Um, what do you make of aliens, and are we alone?
I don't know. Obviously, none of us. I say none of us. Us normal folk. We don't know for sure. And like you said, a good point is UFO could be Russia's experimental aircraft that crashed the United States or flew over the United States. What that balloon, that Chinese balloon thing, that was called a UFO. I mean,
Yeah,
unidentified flying object. That's that could be anything from that balloon to a drone to a scramjet that Russia produced. Anything like that is considered UFO. But to have a senior official or somebody that was on some task force come out and say, "Hey, guess what? We have aircraft from aliens. We have
yeah,
UFOs. We have aliens, and we've seen them," is a little spooky. But even with this guy, you still can't confirm.
yeah.
Like,
Show me the freaking videos. Show me some pictures or something,
yeah,
man. Like, come on.
if you're gonna go Snowden on us, you might as well go all the way.
Yeah, I'm skeptical too. Of course, it's either real or it's fake. And well, why? Everyone's like, well, why would it be fake? Why would he do this? And I'll give you like one reason is it could be a complete, government psyop, and you're like, why would you want to do that? Well, one, there's a distraction from something else going on. I don't know what. Probably not, because nothing really big is happening. I don't think, or maybe I'm just distracted. So it's working perfectly. Or it's a psyop to scare other countries, enemy countries, and thinking, oh, they have had alien tech for decades, and surely they're getting along pretty far with it. We shouldn't mess with them, which I don't really think that works. And then the third idea, which I think is the most likely, is the how to become a millionaire in the fastest way possible idea. And how to become a millionaire in the fastest way possible: one, you get a government job; two, you work there for a while, you get pretty respected title; three, you become a whistleblower, telling all these secrets about what the government is hiding or what certain government official is doing. Four, then you sign the book deal. Five, you go on a podcast tour, and then six, you're a millionaire. So you basically just make up story or exaggerate stories and get yourself a book deal. It's like the oldest. It's the oldest playbook that everyone's using. I mean, like 3 or 4 people used it with Trump, where they had some mind-boggling, reveal on Trump, and then it turned out it wasn't really that big of a deal, but they had their book deal and they made their millions. So that's what I think this guy's doing. I don't know for sure, but that's usually my hunch with these people.
Well, if he gets arrested, we know he's telling the truth.
True.
which the government knows that they're not going to arrest him.
Yeah.
If there's something they're trying to keep secret like that, they'll just kill him in his sleep somewhere. So if he winds up mysteriously dead, then something might be going on. But I tend to not believe it. I mean, even if we were, I'm still on the fence about being alone, like aliens and stuff. But even if we were, or even if we weren't, it doesn't change anything. Life's going to go on, and this guy's going to get his 15 minutes of fame and try to make a little bit of money off of it. Yeah.
Good for
And
him.
the government's not going to say anything about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you keep going.
I was say, so there's some other people like from the Navy say that so this article says former Navy pilot Lieutenant Ryan Graves says the story is believable, quote unquote believable. And that it's the the onus is on Congress to verify the claims. They're not going to verify anything.
Yeah.
Like, unless this is their like ploy to see like how we're going to react, then okay, oh, we reacted, mildly. Okay, we're going to release that this is true.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have aliens, alien bodies, and alien UFOs, the other big countries have it too, and they know, like China and Russia. So like, I don't think we would be scaring them by saying, look, we have all this alien technology that you don't even know about. Well,
yeah,
they would have it too.
Yeah, and you know what? What makes it even less believable than anything else is the fact that it was something that's supposedly been decades. You really think over decades and decades, hundreds and hundreds of people are going to be in the know about this? It never leaked. This is the biggest deal in the history of the world, and no one leaked. Come on, like that's bogus. People can't even keep from telling what they ate for dinner 2 hours ago, let alone some government secrets that changed the world. Like they're going to tell their wives at home, who's going to go tell their parents, and then it's just slowly going to spread by one. And that's why I think the whole thing is bogus. And my other idea on if there is aliens at all, yeah, I think the galaxy is the universe is so big that I guess not the galaxy, but the universe itself is so big that it's almost incalculable odds that there isn't any other life. But that said, I think we're probably the most advanced species out there, and the reason I think that is because it's probably more likely that a species much more advanced than us ended up killing itself because I mean we're kind of at the brink of that now. I mean, if in the case of say like the Russia-Ukraine war, if Russia decided to use a nuke, well, what's the rest of the world going to do? Are they going to go use a nuke? I mean, we could easily blow up the world 100 times over, and the weapons are only going to get stronger and stronger. So eventually, you have a terrorist who has access to nuclear bombs, and that's kind of why I think at some point the species ends up destroying itself, I guess, and or you end up making artificial general intelligence that ends up taking over the world and killing all the humans because we're just like little ants to them. So, what did you say?
Another thing about the Air Force came out recently with the AI stuff, but we can talk.
Oh yeah, but that ended up being debunked.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, no, that general or whoever said the story came out and said this was a hypothetical like situation that was written in a paper in a like training exercise, and then it got reported by Vice and blew up in the news.
The disinformation highway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, AI is pretty scary. But I guess if there is superior alien species, then we better start flooring it on making an artificial general intelligence and get our sort of suit of armor around the world.
Yeah, well, even if
you didn't get the reference.
No, the suit of armor around the world, like Tony Stark, Iron Man. Yeah.
Okay.
Ultron, right?
Yeah.
my thought is say they did have AI like hundreds of years ago or whatever. They're far more advanced than we are. And AI wiped them out. AI would still be around for them, right? I mean,
that is true. That is true.
Unless it like it did the Terminator thing where it nuked itself and like ended up destroying everything. So like that would be a thing. But if AI really did like say wiped out humanity or I guess it wouldn't be humanity, wiped out
advanced
this other species, they would still be alive and they would be probably launching rockets to us to see what other type of threat they have to themselves outside of their planet.
Yep.
Which, what was it? Was it back in the 80s, maybe 60s? We launched some type of code out into space.
Oh, like, yeah.
Some generic code. And I don't know if it ever got
sent
back or we got a response. No, maybe we sent it in the wrong direction. I don't know. But it's kind of interesting to think about. Yeah.
And I mean, if you think about it, though, like space is so big. Like maybe there is advanced species, but just from the laws of physics, the only way they could ever really make contact is through like wormhole. So like a folding in space time to be able to sort of transport here, because just even traveling at the speed of light, most places are millions of light years away from each other. So it's like, why would you want to do a million light year journey over to check out this planet? That doesn't seem very smart or useful with your time.
Yeah. And they would have to be flourishing. I mean, I guess if they're advanced, they're flourishing probably, but yeah.
All that to say, humans rock, and we're the best species. They're the most advanced species in the galaxy. So, or universe. I keep saying galaxy. Shoot.
Sorry about my dogs running around in the background.
I was wondering what that was. I was like, I thought it was a person mowing.
No, my dogs are just sprinting back and forth. I do want to talk about the AI thing, even though it's quote unquote debunked. It is a little interesting. So to give context to everybody, the military or Air Force was running a simulation and they were testing their AI, and the AI was tasked and given brownie points. I guess you want to, however it works in AI, you give them
reinforcement learning.
Reinforcement. Yeah. And the reinforcement, the only way to gain reinforcement was to take out the target. Well, they had a human on one end controlling kill or no kill. And so they sent this AI to fly this plane or whatever, or UAV, I guess, technically. And it was supposed to go and take out this target that the Air Force had determined. Well, in some of the simulations, they gave it a go, and some they gave it a no-go. When the go, it did fine. It executed just fine. Well, in the no-go, it started attacking the human operator at their base to be able to go get its brownie points or go get its reinforcement learning by taking out the target, even though it got a no-go. So then in the article that I read, it said, well, so like that's kind of scary, of course. Like that, if that was true, I guess that would be pretty scary, and that does seem somewhat plausible.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, so then they said, okay, well, stop killing the person. You get negative reinforcement for killing the person, and you still get a little bit of positive reinforcement for listening to the human. Well, apparently it started doing the mission and started taking out different communication towers and different communication planes, and then taking out the target, so it got its positive reinforcement. Which does seem plausible. I mean, that seems I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie Eagle Eye. It has horrible reviews. I thought it was kind of a decent movie, but Shia LaBeouf's in it, and that's kind of what that reminds me of.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the paperclip scenario with AI?
Operation Paperclip? No.
Not Operation Paperclip, but the the hypothetical paperclip scenario with AI. You program an AI like this situation to do this harmless task, to make as many paperclips as possible. but then it becomes extremely proficient at its task. So it begins to consume more and more resources to produce the paper clips. And soon it's going to extreme lengths to make as many paper clips as possible. It repurposes all the matter on Earth to become a paper clip. And that's sort of like this exact thing that became extremely efficient at killing the target to where it knew to, take out all this other stuff and then
all these
take down the
obstacles.
yes. So that's kind of like, that's the scary part about, I mean, that's why we have, we have both a rational part of our brain and we have this sort of emotional awareness part that's like, oh, okay, well, we'll put the brakes on this. Otherwise, if we just have a logic function that says do this, then, the ends justify the means. So we'll do whatever. And that's sort of how a computer probably is, or an AI might be, which I guess is why a lot of, people are very worried about
Skynet.
Skynet and AGI taking over. And, what if you made an AI that was like, okay, we want to make the world a better place. What if the AI's functions like, well, shoot, all the humans, they gotta go. This would be a lot better if there was the world would be a lot better if there were no humans. And goodbye, human race.
Yeah. Or let's see, what's another one? What's another AI movie? iRobot.
iRobot.
Which I've seen that movie like 30 times. Even though they wrote the 3 laws or whatever that the AI couldn't overcome, well, guess what? It figured out a way to get through the 3 laws to be able to serve humanity better by eliminating humans. So the list is almost endless when it comes to those kind of movies. But in this day and age, they're almost a little plausible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's blown up on your Twitter. Maybe I'm just so involved in AI Twitter that I see it every day. Like the newest trend is the AI doomerism trend, where it's like we got to put the brakes on this. We got to stop this AI development because it's going to be too late. By the time we know to put the brakes on it, it's going to be way too late, and the AI is already going to take over. I'm skeptical of it. I don't think these transformer models are going to become generally intelligent. I think, everyone says it based off ChatGPT because it's so good at language and knowing. It has so much more knowledge than the human has. But it is our knowledge. It's our like collective knowledge over thousands and thousands of years put into words. And in my head, what these transformer models are just so proficient at is because actually language is probably not that hard of an algorithm to understand. There's so many other things that are way harder to do than language, and we just don't realize it. I mean, there's so many intangibles that we do as humans. We have extra awareness. We have this sort of emotional awareness that I already kind of covered. We are able to make really split-second decisions on risk versus reward. If you are in a car, that's why driverless cars has kind of struggled to take off, because there's so many tiny things we don't even realize we do on the road that are almost impossible to learn through these current models. Now in the future, I don't know if the models end up changing. That remains to be seen, but yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of very scary scenarios with an actual artificial general intelligence.
Yeah, I don't think it's plausible, but what's to stop somebody from doing it anyways? Okay, we put in these laws. We put in this. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, obviously there's some like don't kill, some very generic laws that are everybody pretty much universal. Like this is bad. But like, you can't stop some random guy in his basement from making some AI. Obviously it'll take a long time, but okay, we put a stop to everybody. Okay, well, guess what? Microsoft didn't listen and they did it anyways. And now it took over the world. Guess what? Okay, who cares? Like, we're dead.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't listen. So I don't really know. You can't really stop anyone from doing it anyways.
Yeah.
So what's the point of doing a law?
The really extreme people are saying that you can't
Gotta shut
get
down
access
computers.
to a GPU, or like a certain amount of GPUs, I guess, to run models or build models on. And then one guy even said, like, if a big company decides, say Microsoft has OpenAI right now, but that's the one everyone's worried about. Say Microsoft keeps going with their AI development and OpenAI keeps going with their AI development, then we need to bomb the data centers. Like, come on, guys, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed up and watched iRobot last night 3 times, so now I think this. That's probably what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think you can stop anybody, to
Yeah,
be honest. So
the ideal AI situation, or AGI. I mean AGI is like the final form, the most advanced AI we can make. Is like interstellar TARS. You have, the robot TARS in there, where it's like just a human companion. It knows everything, but it's just right there helping with everything, but it never takes over, which I think is kind of what we're working towards. And I think that's kind of how ChatGPT in a way is. It's just embodied in a computer on a screen instead of physically. Um, but I think that's kind of what the final iteration of AI will end up being.
I think that to a point of that I just thought of, we our society kind of moves towards sci-fi. What you would consider sci-fi 50 years ago, we've built that.
Mm-hmm.
No, not all of it, but a lot of it. Um, our sci-fi stuff hasn't really evolved that much, and it kind of goes to the point of like, there's no good new movies. Like, we're not creative anymore. But like, the sci-fi now is just AI.
Oh yeah,
Sci-fi, like, we don't really have new, like, we're coming to kind of an end for our sci-fi. I don't
yeah,
know. Maybe I'm
yeah.
crazy. Maybe I'm not making any sense.
No, you're right. I mean, sci-fi is all doomerist now. It's not. It's all dystopian sci-fi, or majority is dystopian. There's not previous sci-fi is very hopeful, optimistic. Like, we're gonna build this technology. This is what the future looks like. It's awesome. Oh, sure, there's some bad actors, but the good guys end up destroying the bad guys. That's what a past sci-fi is. Now all the sci-fi is like, holy crap! If you develop this technology, it's basically the end of the world, and all that usually centers around AI, or um,
Some type of
nuclear
robot. Yeah.
weapons or robots. Yeah, it's almost always AI, because I don't think I think we're scared to imagine something could be smarter than us naturally. I mean, we're a competitive species, and we're probably going to try to stop anything that is a threat to us, which AI, in most cases, to people is a threat. So that's why the media is consumed with doomerist stories.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just thinking of like, okay, you think back to Star Trek. Okay, we have spaceships, and there's these really cool spaceships, and they have these things that you can flip open and call somebody, or they have like a scanner that scans your body for disease.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, and then they're aliens and they're helping each other. Like, that's kind of sci-fi, like that technology,
Yeah,
sci-fi. What is the technology for sci-fi now? Like, I don't know. I feel like we're coming close to the end of our, at
our
least,
imagination.
imagination. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And we don't even really imagine anymore. Who's showing a sci-fi with super medicine that scans your body and finds disease or regenerates a tissue? No one's really showing that. The only version of that is superheroes who have super regenerative capacity. It's not, human invented this technology that changes the entire outlook of the world. Well, it's
Yeah.
always human invented this technology that ends up destroying the world. So therefore, don't invent technology.
Yeah. We've got a little bit off topic, but do you have any more final thoughts on on the aliens or planes or science? I guess.
No, I mean, final thoughts are let's get government jobs and then become whistleblowers so we can, blow this podcast up.
Maybe I'm already a whistleblower and we have no idea.
Mm.
Well, this has been Simply Not Cool. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.